So, hi guys, MMA UK news. Obviously, myself, Stoomboy, as always, for the MMA UK BJJ show. So, I know we've been doing a lot of MMA stuff over the last little while, but as I said, we've finally got back to doing some BJJ shows. As I said, it's been a while. I think it's been a few months now since we've done an all-exclusive BJJ show. So, joined by obviously a special guest, so an international guest. So obviously my next guest, Shaughn Vos. Shaugh's a black belt, Rio Grappling black belt under Roberto Atalla, hailing from Cape Town in South Africa, via Norfolk, and now finds his home in Brechin in Scotland. So we're going to hear a little bit about Shaugh's journey. Obviously, I know that Shaughn, as well as his own jiu-jitsu, obviously has a number of students, and he also competitor as well. So we'll hear a little bit about obviously some of his competition stuff as well. So Shaughn, absolute honour to have you on, sir.
Hey man, nice to see you, bro. How you doing?
I'm good, sir. I'm good. How's everything going training wise?
Tiring, mate, as it is for everyone, but good. Good. It's just good to be back after lockdown, man. Just getting back into that flow. Body's still getting used to it again, but good.
Yes. You mentioned you're doing. Yeah, well, listen, I've not trained now properly since before the lockdown. So, so I've been going into the gym the last kind of few days or this week, just kind of getting a kind of taste for it, a feel for it again. So nice. My training officially starts back on Monday. So,
so I hit you just at the right time.
yes. So, but it's going to be a hard few classes to start with, but. Do you know what? That's what we love about. Yeah, that's what we love about jiu-jitsu. So,
it's the fight.
Yeah. So, but if jiu-jitsu was easy, everybody would do it. Every single person. So, Shaughn, as I said, absolute honour to have you on. I've had a few people message me since obviously we put the post up, and obviously excited to hear about obviously some of the things that you're going to say and hear a bit about your journey and things like that. So obviously we mentioned then from Cape Town. Okay, so coming from South Africa. What's the jiu-jitsu scene like in South Africa, in Cape Town especially?
So South Africa in general, it's probably very similar to Scotland, I'd say. In probably obviously because there's a bigger population, more numbers, but level-wise, you have like pockets where it's absolutely incredible. You've got really good guys, but mostly you're looking at blue belts, purple belts, the occasional smattering of a brown belt and a black belt. Very similar to what I felt where I've been in Scotland, anyway. You have Cape Town was strong when I was there, and Johannesburg's very strong. Now especially, they've kind of like, I think, caught up, if not overtaken Cape Town in a lot of ways, from what I've heard anyway. I mean, I'm not there. But it's cool. Cape Town was very close, especially like like Scotland, the Rio Grappling clubs. We had like by quite a majority, the biggest like team, I think probably in Cape Town, 9 or 10 gyms, I'd say. Just for a bit of perspective, Cape Town's like, I think the whole population of Scotland is Cape Town. So there's 5 or 6 million people in Cape Town. And then you had very good teams from Henzo Gracie, especially after the whole Danaher leg lock storm. They just started nailing us. It took a bit of a learning curve to catch up, but we did eventually. And then I left, but it's cool. Everybody's kind, and I suggest you guys train. It's very cool trip actually. When lockdown's done, of course.
Definitely, and we have heard that. I mean, there's been a few guys been out to South Africa and trained in different places. You mentioned obviously Johannesburg, Cape Town, and things like that. So we've had a few guys that have went out and have trained. I've got a friend of mine goes out to South Africa every year. And he trains. I'm trying to think. It's a Henzo Gracie black belt that's over there. It's an older guy.
It will be Henzo Cape Town with Kurt George.
Yeah. So
he's amazing. He's an amazing coach. Really good.
My friend goes over there. Thomas goes over there every year, every couple of
Okay,
years, and
nice.
he goes and trains there all the
I
time.
might have
So
trained with him. Thomas sounds familiar.
yes, so but yeah, he loves the place. I think he's got family out
Nice,
there,
cool.
so he loves going
Mm.
out visiting the family and obviously getting some
Yeah, yeah,
jiu-jitsu in Cape Town,
yeah,
so or
man.
in South Africa. So and then you did a lot of competing in South Africa. I mean, obviously things I
Yeah,
was reading about you, you were one of the top competitors in Cape Town,
yeah,
or in
yeah,
South
yeah.
Africa in general. So I mean, what was your competition like coming up through the belts?
So when I started, there wasn't really much going on. We had a tournament called Cape of Storms. That was pretty much the top echelon for us, but that was still back in the day. I think that's like early 2000s, and that kind of like faded away, and there was like a lull, and then just suddenly, like I would say, probably from about 2005, 2006, everything just skyrocketed. There was a stage we'd have to travel, and South Africa travel. If you go from Cape Town to Joburg to compete, you're doing the equivalent from London to Edinburgh, probably there, back and back again, just for a trip. So you travel, but you could compete twice a month, three times a month if you wanted to, if you really put it. And at that stage, I did. We would go. We competed in Joburg. We competed. There was a really good tournament in. It's actually a funny story. A really good tournament in what's the area? East London, and I entered. It was my first advanced tournament that I'd entered in no-gi. So, okay, perspective. I trained no-gi 3 or 4 years before I put a gi on. So,
Mhm.
had that like we're at a much higher level than my gi was. So, I was there for the no-gi tournament, and I decided, all right, we'll put on a gi for this. So my cousin and I, he actually reminded me the other day, we pulled our gis out of the packaging. They still had the fold lines, and I entered the white belt tournament. Man, I ended up winning the absolute, my weight group in absolute in the tournament for nogi, for the advanced. And at white belt, I got choked out unconscious from top mount in the first comp. So yeah, that was a steep learning curve. Yeah, man. Other than that, we had some badass tournaments. One that I'm actually thinking of bringing this side. It was called Gas.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's suitable for beginners. That was the only thing we always worried about. But um, it was, you'd have your divisions, 8 guys in a division, and
Yeah.
you would fight everybody once for 10 minutes, sub only.
Mhm.
And you would get points according to the time of submission. So, say I submitted the guy in 6 minutes, then I would get 4 points, and he'd get negative 4 points. And at
Yeah.
the end, sub only till you drop. And you had some battles, man, like hour and a half, 2 hours of insanity. So yeah, I did that, and I started winning like all the tournaments I entered, and decided that I was gonna try overseas, and that's like quite a big thing for South Africa. Like it's expensive. Like I know, like 500 quid for me even now sounds like it's not so much to travel to South Africa, for instance. But when you convert it to rands, that's like 10 grand. So
Yeah.
like it's a lot of bucks. So saved up the money. As a cool story from a competition. I actually got the money for the tournament, but I'll get to that. Um, we I saved up, went off to Bulgaria, and I competed at the 80cc Euros.
Yeah.
Um, and I fought well, won all the way up to the semis, and then I see the guy is a giant Polish guy. I didn't know who he was. I had no idea. All I knew was Alexander Trance was on the other side of the bracket. So if I won, I'm like a purple belt. If I win, I have to go against Trance. So I was um, so I looked at my dad. He was behind me, and all of the matches, the guys were like, like all ready and everything, looking you in the eyes. Let's fight, type of thing. And one of my strengths from my coach Rico Hutting in Cape Town is like Greco style wrestling. And I mean,
Mhm.
I'm in Eastern Europe, so I thought, okay, I'm definitely getting taken down. Yeah, but truth, Bob's, I take everybody down. I get to the semi final. and I'm trying to look at this giant Polish fella next to me in the eyes, and he's not making eye contact. So I'm like, I got you, bro. I got you. I didn't get him. I didn't get him. I looked at my dad still and I said to him, yo, he's not making eye contact. I got him. And yeah, 4, 5, 6 minutes in, I made the mistake. He was going deep half, and I made the mistake on my left leg, slip on the back, choke within 3 seconds. I was done.
Yeah.
So then ended up in the third and fourth against a Russian. Also a cool story against this Russian fella. So he's bloodied, man. He's got blood dripping down his nose. He's got stuff taped over his head. He's just fought Trance. You know what I mean? Trance has punished this dude like crazy. So I'm expecting like, okay, I'm gonna get into this wrestling match and I'm gonna wear him down. He's tired already, and I'll win this. I'll get my bronze. I hit him on that first snap down, like just let him know, South African style. Here we are, and he just didn't even move. I was like, whoa, okay. So we wrestle. Gets to 5 minutes 20 on the clock. Okay, so it's about 40 seconds left before we go to overtime, and Homeboy's just getting his breath back after Trance mauled him. Man, the next thing he drops on a double, picks me up, runs across the mat and dumps me. Oh! So I match finishes. He wins with a takedown. I'm like, okay, cool. Walking through the stand, so I ask him, so like, man, you've done wrestling before? He's like, no English. I'm like, wrestling, and he says, oh, that Olympics. So I go and research the dude. The year that Daniel Cormier qualified and came, like, I think he got a silver. This dude finished like 22nd in the world, and I'm trying to wrestle with him. Nah. But yeah, that was my foray overseas. I enjoyed that, really enjoyed that. And then kind of like did 1 or 2 comps after that, but then kind of settled into the coaching role more, the jiu-jitsu and MMA. A bunch of MMA guys have trained. So yeah, that's my journey. I'm thinking of competing now. There's a tag team event somewhere in Scotland, and
Power tag in Paisley. So it's a good competition. What they do is they put on different types of events. Okay, so they'll have like a teams event, and then obviously now they're doing this power tag. So
it sounds like fun, man.
It sounds absolutely brilliant. It sounds like WWE style power tagging, tag your partner in, and
3 seconds double team. Woo!
Yeah, mate, it sounds
awesome.
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, I love to go and watch these guys when they're putting on a show. And they always do like a live stream, so they can stream it on Facebook. So obviously anybody can watch it anywhere in the world as well, usually free of charge. So
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great event. It's a great event. And one thing I noticed, I watched an old video, you think back in 2014 when you were competing. Now, anybody that doesn't know, Shaughn is what, 6'4", 6'5", roughly, over 100 kilos.
I thought I was only 125, and then I had a bit of a shock the other day because I saw photos of me playing some rugby, and I was like, "You dude, you've got fat." So I'm closer to 140 actually. So, but I've cut down now, so I'm down to 132 this morning. So. Doing better.
Nice. But the one thing on the video I saw was you whatever fight, I think you were on the bottom and you did a berimbolo, a perfect berimbolo as well, and I was like, wow. And anytime we ever seen an ultra heavyweight doing a berimbolo, it's an absolute brilliant thing to see, because us big guys, we're not supposed to be able to do stuff like that.
No. Yeah, it's always been my style, man. I liked the so. What happened was, I think because a lot of the ultra heavyweights, they're used to smaller guys, so it's always the hold down mindset. Like, I'll hold, I'll crush, I'll get past, and I found that so boring, man. Like I can't even weightlift. I find weightlifting boring. I don't know if I've got like attention issues, but I found that boring. So I really studied hard on doing small man jiu-jitsu as a big fella. And I pride myself on very rarely getting out scrambled. So I mean, my top student Chris, he's a brown belt, and he's 70 kilos, and him and my matches are never holders. Rippy, yeah, man. Yeah. So I like that.
Yeah. I mean, that was one thing I'd say when I watched it. I thought, this is fantastic, because obviously me coming from, I usually fight around about under 100 kilos, but obviously I've dabbled, I've went in the ultra heavyweight. I'm very small. I'm only 5'4", 5'5", depending on what kind of shoes I'm wearing. So, but my game was always let that person come at me. So let them, because my takedown defense is usually quite good. So when I saw you doing when I saw you berimbolo, and I was like, wow, unbelievable. So I said, very rare to see an ultra heavyweight doing any kind of inverted stuff or berimbolo and things like that. And as you
that berimbolo paid for my trip to Bulgaria. Actually, that was a story I wanted to tell. So I had won my weight division at that tournament. It was a provincial tournament. The guy who ran the tournament's actually another funny story, but we'll get to that if you want as well. And the guy I was going against, I was purple belt. The guy I was going against is a black belt, very nice guy, English fella, and he was my first coach. And he came to me, I think, after watching the match, and he was like, "Do you want to fight?" He's a lot smaller than me, so granted, but he was like, do you want to have a match? And I'm like, cool, that'll be fun. So we went to the promoter. It was quite a weird conversation, because we're like, yo, Mike, can we have a match, mate? And he's like, he was, what do you mean, can you have a match? It's like, we want to, you're not in the same weight. It's like, yeah, we just, I want to have a match. And he was like, okay. So I was under the impression when we started that it was more like a social, like fun thing, like demo. His students were in the back. I had my students this side. I just started like teaching a few guys. They were watching. That's the guys in the video that you were like, oh, berimbolo, you hear in the background. When I started, I pulled guard. So usually I like to wrestle. So I'll wrestle. But I thought this is going to be fun, and I like to invert. I like all that stuff. So let's have some fun. So I inverted that beginning, felt him out, and he came down. And when I went to deep half guard, he started pulling his knee out, and I heard his breathing and the way he was exerting himself. He's, and I was like, oh, we're not having fun. This is a match. Okay. So scrambled. I swept him, got on top, and did the berimbolo. But so what happened then is he asked me, like, can I come and maybe do like a spinny berimbolo type class at his academy? And the academy he had was in a really, really rich area. So I was like, yeah, no problem. And then he asked me if I could pay, if he could pay me. And I was like, no. All I would like you to do is just tell the guys I'm going off on this tournament, and I need like help getting there. And I went, did the class. It was like freaking 90 people there. It was crazy. And there was like 3 or 4 people that donated, and they paid for the whole trip. Nice. So I was very grateful. What a legend, man. His name's James. He's a legend.
Nice one. It's always good. Man. I mean, stories like that. I mean, we hear a lot of things like that in jiu-jitsu. So where just one move could
change your life.
Yeah, definitely.
100%.
And then obviously you, obviously being a black belt under Roberto Atalla, coming to Scotland. Scotland is for Rio Grappling. We spoke before we came on, we went live, but Rio Grappling in Scotland is one of the top teams in Scotland. Actually, they've got a number of affiliates all over Scotland. Obviously, the Grip House being one of the kind of main ones. So obviously you coming over here, it's almost like having an extended family for yourself.
Yeah, man, it is very cool. Yeah. I've got a guy that is quite close up in Montrose, so just 20 minutes away. Dale, he's a cool dude there, Jack's MMA. And I know Aberdeen has got Aberdeen Combat Centre. I think they're Rio Grappling Club. And the
Yes.
guys have been very kind, like talking. The Gary from Grip House, he's gone out of his way. We haven't been able to meet yet, obviously,
Yeah.
but he's gone out of his way to like make me feel very, very, very much at home. He's a good lad.
Yeah.
Really
Yes.
like that. Yeah.
Yes, and that's it. They always do. I mean, Grip House especially always do like some big open mats every now and again. Usually charity open mats, so where a lot of people turn up. Obviously, ourselves at MMBJJ, we do some kind of big open mats as well, and we always get. I mean, Grip House again always get maybe 70, 80 people. We're the
Wow.
same. Just a
Wow.
big 2 to 3 hours of people just killing each
Yeah.
other, man, killing
Oh,
each
it's
other.
awesome, man. It's awesome. We did the same in Cape Town, and that's the thing about Scotland, mate. Like I love Norfolk. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate all my students that are there. I've still got a purple belt that, I mean, if anybody wants to train there, he's the guy to go for it, Daniel Bellamy. But Scotland just been so inviting, man. Everybody's so warm and friendly. I joined a rugby club. I haven't played rugby since I was 20. And it's been like they feel like my family. It's crazy. Everybody's been so kind and welcoming, and it's the same kind of vibe as say Cape Town. So that's what I was trying to get at. If you could compare, it's like the whole of Scotland, that kind of like banter vibe, fun, letting people come in, being open and welcome. It makes me feel like it's Cape Town. That South Africans are all about braais and too much alcohol and friends and family, and it feels the same here, which is awesome. I really, really, really like it.
Definitely. And I mean, the jiu-jitsu community in Scotland as a whole is absolutely fantastic. I mean, as I said, it's got better and better, and we've got more closer over the years.
Yes.
As you've got guys cross-training, and do you know what I mean, if
Yeah.
we're ever up in Aberdeen, we've obviously got a place to train. People come to
Yeah.
Glasgow, Edinburgh, so
Brechin, you
Brechin,
can come by me, bro.
yeah,
You're
so, but
always welcome.
that's the thing about Scotland. I mean, as I say, Scotland as a jiu-jitsu community, we've become
Yes.
a lot closer. And even when guys go out to, don't get me wrong, if we're at a local competition and we're facing each other, then obviously we want to beat each other.
Yes.
But when they go to the bigger comps, like your IBJJF Euros or any IBJJF comp or any other
Together.
comp, we're together.
Yeah.
We want
Yeah.
Scotland to win. We want
Yeah.
Scotland to win everything. So it's a
Yeah,
very,
that's
very
awesome,
close
mate.
community. So
Same as Cape Town. That's the same vibe. So that's, if you want to experience Cape Town's jiu-jitsu scene, that's what it's like. That same vibe.
yeah, and we always have banter with each other as well. We're always slagging
I've
each other
noticed.
off.
I've noticed.
Yeah, so yeah, listen, we don't hold back when it comes to the banter. So
No, I love it. I love
we
it.
we. But again, we're always there. Even guys. I mean, I like if I'm not training, I'll have guys from other gyms message me and say, "What's happening?" And do you know what I mean, how's your training? Or you're not training, or you are training. So
Yeah.
and vice versa, other people as well. So
Yeah,
that's
man.
how really, really good community.
Oh, that's
So as I
cool.
said,
I'm really glad I'm here, and I'm really looking forward to traveling and checking it all out, man. Also, because
yes,
Scotland is beautiful, man.
it is. It definitely is.
Oh,
So I mean, you're in a bit of a place. I mean, you're way out in the countryside as well. So I mean, you're surrounded by kind of beautiful scenery and stuff like that in and
yeah.
around Brechin. So
Yeah, it's purposeful. So from COVID, the gym in Norfolk obviously like broke down pretty much. Like it just wasn't sustainable. And at the same time, we had we had a bit of a loss, my wife and I. So she just like had enough. And when we came to visit friends when she was mourning, we came to visit friends up in a mate of mine that I knew from school. So he's been my friend for like 20 odd years. And we just saw the beauty, and it kind of like calmed her. And I was like, well, within a month after that, we you make certain decisions for your family, and within a month we were living here. And lockdown was very hard. We'll be honest,
yeah,
not seeing anybody, and then mourning and everything the same. But then meeting the people at the rugby club first of all, and then as we've opened up with restrictions and starting to meet the jiu-jitsu community, it's been Yeah, it's really helped that. So Brechin is like a soul soother for us, if you get what I'm saying. We thought of Dundee because my friend lives in Dundee. But in the end, being in this beautiful space where we can drive like literally from my house 3 minutes and I'm in the mountains. It's it was good for us.
Yeah. And what's the difference between where you are now and Cape Town?
Whew, size, man. that's the biggest difference. It's everything is sparse here, so everything's disconnected. In Cape Town, it's like you live close to where you train, where you do this, where you do that. I mean, I guess it's the same for me going to the gym here in Brechin, but for my students, most of them are from Dundee, so they travel the 40 minutes to me, and it's going. I appreciate that a lot, by the way, students. But yeah, I think it's just how life is slowed down for me, mainly.
Yeah, definitely. And then, so in Brechin, Catch 22 submission fighting. So you mentioned the name. So where did the name come from for you?
All right. So my style of jiu-jitsu, and then the way I teach is dilemma based. So I try to give my students the perspective of we're always looking to set something up for something else. All right. With say, for instance, the back being right up here, we're always looking to take the back, and we're always looking for a way to take the back or set people up to take the back. So we use, there's obviously other points before that. Like I have a little algorithm that my students use to kind of like figure out where they are, because when you're starting, you don't know where you are. So we're always looking to run that, and then we're putting people in catch 22 situations. In other words,
yeah. So
yeah, man.
Definitely a good name. Definitely a good name, as it's
thank you.
Catch 22 submission fighting. So obviously that puts out a message as well, being submission fighting. So everybody knows exactly what you're coming to do. You're coming to submit.
Exactly. We're coming to submit, and we're coming to fight. I feel I rolled once. So it was 2015, just after I went to Bulgaria. Andre Galvao was in Cape Town, and I was like one of my best friends is the guy who runs the Outsource Academy.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to get some like semi-private roles with Andre. And when we rolled Nogi, I asked him like, so what is the thing that I'm not doing? Like what's stopping me from like winning that ADCC trials? What did you notice when we were rolling? And he said to me, you don't fight enough. You roll and you're technical and you have an amazing X-pass and all those things, but you kind of like stay off of the fight. And I vowed at that moment that's gone. So and then also the fighting is also to do with the MMA. So I've coached quite a lot of MMA professionally. I never fought. I got prepared for 3 fights and tore my hamstring 3 times preparing. So cut that. So yeah, it also comes with that. Like I believe that you need to be able to take your jiu-jitsu or your submission grappling or fighting needs to be holistic. Like we concentrate on sport jiu-jitsu and more specifically nogi. We do nogi, but the concentration is nogi. But you need to be able to fight. You need to be able to fight if somebody attacks you, and you need to be able to fight in a match. That fellow I was talking about, James, that I fought in that preview match, my ex-coach, he took an MMA fight without any MMA training, and he put his jiu-jitsu to the test, and he won. So I feel that's where our martial art needs to go into being more holistic. We're a martial art. We're a fighting art. We're not just a sport art, if you get what I'm saying. Also, not just a self-defense art. I'm not a self-defense guy. I'm a sport guy, but I still believe there needs to be a fight. And that's why it's Fighting Academy.
Yeah, and I noticed as well, Catch 22 is also on Smooth Comp. So that means your guys are coming to competitions.
Oh yes, yes. We got some. We got some. I've got a few. I got a really good brown belt in the higher level. Chris, he's going to be competing at what's the? Oh, now I can't even. I remember this competition, but the big comp.
SGI.
That one.
SGI.
That one. He's
Yes.
competing
Yeah.
over there against apparently a guy's a leg locking monster, so that's going to be fun. I have some super talented lower belt guys. There's a guy Jack. He's amazing. I've got a South African who's been. It's so funny. Him and I speak Afrikaans, but he's been here for like 16, 17 years. So it's in a Scottish accent. It's wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. He's very athletic. There's another fella, John Martin. There's oh man, there's tons, and they're learning quickly, and it's gonna be good.
Yeah, yeah. And what about, are we going to see any of your guys on the 4th of September, Scottish Grappling over at Ravenscraig?
We haven't prepped for it, mate. But the guys are keen though. But I'm one of those guys. I want them fit and ready. And no, we won't be there. But we might come watch.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
uh,
Oh, Scottish Grappling's always fantastic events. I mean, in Scotland,
yes.
anybody and this is where you see some of the best Scottish talent. And Scotland, I mean, a lot of the young guys coming through now are phenomenal.
Amazing.
Yeah,
How's that blue belt? Who's that blue belt fella? It's another giant who I'd rather like hope he's on the other side of the bracket. What's that fella's name?
So that's one of my teammates, Mark McQueen. So
okay.
Basically, Mark came from, he was a world champion powerlifter. Okay, so he got into jiu-jitsu around about early 2019, I believe, because his brother was a blue belt, Gavin. So Mark wanted to get away from powerlifting, or not away from powerlifting, but away from competing in powerlifting.
Yes.
So he was looking for another channel to go down. So obviously he decided to take up jiu-jitsu. And I remember Mark being in the gym at first, because he came to us, I think he'd only been training about 3 or 4 months when he came to Marcus Nardini's. When he first started, I mean, people were able to do things with him. They were able to sweep him, and they were able to, do you know what I mean, stay in side control, keep him on the ground and things like that. But then Mark's one of these people, because he's a professional athlete coming from powerlifting, he put all his time and effort into becoming the guy that you've seen recently. Okay, so, and then... I mean, he went
and that's impressive. Sorry to interrupt, but that's impressive because usually guys I found that come from a powerlifting background, because they have that strength and that ability to explode, they don't tend to get technical. So for him to like humble himself to learn the techniques and kind of realize like, yeah, I got those, but I'm not gonna be able to use it until I kind of figure this out. That's impressive, mate. That's very impressive.
Yeah. I mean, he went to... As a white belt, he went 21. He had 21 jiu-jitsu fights. He won all 21. Didn't lose a point. And went to. Ended up with him going to the Euros, and he won the Euros as a white belt, and then came back from the Euros, got his blue belt in, I believe, the February of 2020, and then March 2020, as we know, lockdown came. Okay, So what Mark was doing with him and his brother, he was just training with him and his brother over and over and over again. And so he then went to the competition, the Grappling Industries, just last week, and entered himself in the elite division, and came up against, I think he'd fought, 2 black belts, a brown belt, and one of them being Ross Nichols, who's one of the top black belts in the UK.
That's fantastic.
But he's terrifying. And he's the same. And I was actually talking about you. I said, look, obviously we've got Shaughn Vos. I say Shaughn Vos also an ultra heavyweight, over 100 kilos, 6'4", 6'5". So you guys are pretty similar size wise. So I was like, look, anytime. We say we can even if you guys are ever together.
I'd love to roll with him and help him out, man. Like I know you've got that physical ability and the the mind to learn technique. Yeah, that's the kind of guy you want to help, man.
Yeah. But he's terrifying. But he's wanting to do ADCC trials. That's where
Yeah, sure.
that's what he's wanting to do. So obviously, when that comes up, he's obviously getting himself in that.
He
So
has to do it. He has to do it, man. He's
yes,
welcome to
so
come. He's welcome to come have roles with me, man. So if you're hearing, bud, no problem.
definitely, he's going to Aberdeen for a year. He's moving off to
Oh wow,
university, so he's going to. I think studying to do something to do with
good Germans.
sports, something to do with that. So he's going up there for a year, and then but he travels about. He does travel about. He's one of these people where he soaks up knowledge.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, I'd say obviously
We're
we've got
45
you.
minutes from Aberdeen, or 50
Yes,
minutes from Aberdeen. Welcome. He's welcome.
yes. Definitely,
Yeah,
so
man.
I will
Yeah.
let him know. I will definitely let him
Cool.
know. So,
Cool.
and then obviously for you guys, then, so Catch 22, where do you see yourself going, or where would you like to see you guys being going forward?
So what I've learned about Brechin is that Brechin has this history steeped in martial arts. There's when I talk to people around here, every second bloke I speak to is a black belt in something, which is awesome. I really judo and boxing, and there's taekwondo, and there's all these guys. The martial arts here, it's so huge, and what I'd like to see is us like establishing that. Like, it would be pretty awesome to have a small town of 8,000 people in the middle of nowhere being a fighting force in not just Scotland. I'm never one for like I be the best in my area. It doesn't feel like you're doing much.
Yeah,
But some of the best guys in the world. That's the goal, man. Like if you don't have that goal, what goal do you have?
yeah,
But in the same mind, also like contributing to helping the younger fellas. I see a lot of guys around, and maybe more Dundee than here, but even here I've seen it. Like young men, they don't have that thing that concentrates them and helps them become men, if you get what I'm saying, and that's
yeah.
something we can provide. So those are probably the two main things: is to build a legacy here, because I don't even like it anymore. I love the town already. It's the people have made me love this place. So now I would like to represent that, and then obviously help the youngins, get some focus.
Definitely. And then what about you? So obviously are we going to see you on the mats competing? I know you talked about it earlier. So what would you?
Yeah. I maybe once or twice, but man's getting old, bro. I feel it, man. The training you need. I play a bit of rugby, so we play on a Monday's training session, and then obviously I've got the jiu-jitsu for the rest of the week. Oh, I'm knackered, bro. My body's not recovering like it used to. But I'll see what happens with this tag team thing, because I got a lot of weight to lose for that. Because the combined weight is 180 kilos, and I can't be 3/4 of that. That's just not wise. So I'll see what happens with that. But I think my future holds in like coaching, man. Like I was born to be a coach more than a competitor. I enjoyed the competition, but my eyes definitely firmly on coaching at the minute. But who knows?
And then, yeah, well, listen, who knows? Who knows? As I say, never say never. Never say never.
Never. I never thought I'd play rugby again, and I am. So there you go.
Yes. And then what about contacting you or contacting Catch 22? How do people get in contact with you guys?
Best way, Facebook. You can search Catch 22 Submission Fighting Brechin on Facebook. And if you want to, I add pretty much anybody that's got a photo with a gi or a no gi or a MMA picture on it. So look me up on Facebook. It's spelled funny, Shaughn Vos. Yeah, man, that's about it. Contact if you want to come train. Always welcome. Anybody, always welcome. We're open and full of fun.
Definitely. I'll get the link posted up for the gym as well, so guys can get in contact with you. And then final thing for you then, Shaughn, I said, anybody you want to thank, anybody that's been part of your journey so far?
Cool. Obviously, number one is my coach, my head of my affiliation, Roberto. We at Rio Grappling Club, the thing is, the affiliation is kind of like a model where there's no coercion, there's no pressure, there's none of the you have to do this, have to do that. It's all on respect, and Roberto's become more like I don't want to call him my dad because he'll hit me, but he's become like a father figure and just somebody I care for. So obviously him, and then shout out to my coach in South Africa. If you want to train and be mauled, his name's Rico Hutton. You can have a look. He's got a really impressive MMA career. He's a monster. And my wife. That's about it. And then the guys at the gym, I don't forget. Martin organized this. Appreciate it. John, all the guys have been so kind. It's awesome. Yeah, man.
Nice one.
Thank you, man. And you. Thank you for this. This has been awesome.
Listen, it's been an absolute honour. As I said, when the guys pointed out Martin and I think one of your other, I can't remember, Liam, I think his name is. So, so they both were obviously on at me and said, "Look, you need to get Shaughn on. You need to get Shaughn on." So,
Martin,
and then obviously.
Martin's filled my gym almost on his own. He's awesome. That's why I've got the Cobra Kai on. He'll understand.
Cobra Kai. No, listen, I know what you mean by that. So Cobra Kai never dies, Martin. Cool. So, but listen, no, absolute honour. I'm looking forward to. Obviously, we'll see each other on the mats at some point.
Yeah, man.
So
yeah, man. I'd love to roll. That'd be awesome, man.
And then obviously at competitions, if we ever see each other at competitions, anybody that sees him, Shaughn at competitions, go and speak to him. Say hello. Obviously, see his guys. As I said, we're definitely looking forward to it. So thank you again.
Awesome. Thanks, brother.
And you enjoy the rest of your day. Okay.
See ya. Bye, man.